Ayan! Kamusta kayo dyan? Good day, good morning. Eto na guys. Eto na. Big time na mga nangyari today guys. Of course, internationally, alam na natin, dumating na si Nancy Pelosi. Hindi Nancy Binaya, Nancy Pelosi. Diyan sa Taiwan, safe and sound at lahat ng mga threats ng sinabi ng China, na iharasin na yung plane niya, na this and that and that and this, wala nangyari. Dumating siya and yes, she's having a great time there. May meeting sila kanina with Tsai Ing-wen, President of Taiwan. Show force yung dalawang babae na yan. Binigyan ng award, no? May Medal of Honor na nakuha si Nancy Pelosi from the Taiwanese president. Talaga naka-pink, all the way pink pa naman si Madam Nancy kagabi nung pagdating niya sa Taiwan, exactly as we said. So, tama lahat ng mga sinabi natin na China will not do anything too crazy to disrupt yung visit ni Nancy Pelosi, that she'll safely and soundly landing in Taiwan. And now we're saying that she's actually going high profile. She's going big time PR with this event. She's really holding this huge meetings dun sa mga pinakamatataas na opisyalis ng Taiwan. So talagang history has been made, guys. Now, obviously, there'll be tantrums. Exactly as we talked about yesterday. At dun sa sinulat kong article na kakapost ko lang, what I wrote yesterday, itong article na yan, so I wrote it before she arrived. Sabi ko, there will be some sort of a medium-range responses by China. There will be massive military exercises. There will be potentially cyber libel, yan kasi yung Pilipinas, cyber attacks potentially. There'll be export bans. So may mga bans na on some of the Taiwanese exports, including mga fruit exports nila, yung mga subtropical food exports nila sa China. So there'll be those kinds of responses. Pero yung mga natakot na China will militarily intervene or, my goodness, all sorts of crazy stuff, I don't know about that. So far, hindi natin nakikita yan. So clearly, Nancy Pelosi shows that if you show resolve, the bullies will blink. Nancy Pelosi has shown that if you're timid, you invite bullying. But you have resolve, you inspire grudging respect. No? So, ito yung interesting. Kasi before pumunta si Nancy Pelosi, ito yung threats from yung parang, mga version ng China. Ito yung Global Times. Sabi niya, ito yung Global Times ng China. Ito yung nationalist newspaper, tabloid nila. Parang medyo may made in chismis din to. Oy, by the way, showing na today, made in chismis. Ayan, na-excited na yung mga kaibigan natin. Balikan natin itong Taiwan, So, ito yung chismis tabloid nila, pinakamalaking chismis tabloid na China, napakayabang. Sabi niya, if Pelosi's plane is found flying toward our airspace, the PLA fighter jets could warn, follow, intercept, electronically interfere, force a landing, or drive it back. Di ba? Yabang talaga itong mga made in chismis versions ng China. Yabang eh. So, ang ginawa ni Pelosi, simple lang naman Inikutan lang niya yung Malaysia, Pilipinas, gano'n. Tapos dun sa kabila siya pumasok sa Taiwan. Wala namang problema. At escorted siya ng US Air Force. Siyempre, Air Force yung ginamit. Nako po. At sabi nung ibang reports, there were instructions that if ever there's any harassment by China or something, mag-shoot na yung mga pwede na. May permission to shoot back na yung mga US shoot back or shoot down mga US fighter jets or planes. And then at the same time, nag-triceps flex din ng mga US warships. So nagpadala ng 4 warships ng US sa area na yan. Ayan. When the bully meets a bigger. Ayan tayo. Kung yabangan lang to, mayabang din ang US. Malaking nila. So yan, walang nagawang China. So ngayon, syempre gagawin ng China. Kawawain talaga ngayon ng Taiwan. So medyo yari yung Taiwan dyan, yung exports. So ito guys, so this is the show force. All women Spartan women. Yun, no? President Tsai Ing-wen, Nancy Pelosi. Yan. So, yung mga nag-threaten na sinasabi, yung mga made in chismis na mga Global Times style na we will intercept, we will force to land, we will electronically interfere, we will deploy our fighter jets. Wala nangyari dyan. Wala talaga nangyari dyan. So, World War III, guys, oof, is not happening. Mukhang hot air lang yung meron ng China. Now, as I said, and as I predicted, dito sa article na pinost ko, sabi ko, so ito yung article na pinost ko, andyan na rin kahapon. Sabi ko, Xi Jinping will likely shun a major military confrontation dahil nga may very sensitive political transition na mangyayari sa China later this year where he's widely expected to get a third term in office. So medyo malapit na sa president for life situation. Siyempre, democratic ang China, di ba? And then, of course, China's economic slowdown. Super nag-slowdown ng China. Medyo nahihirapan yung economy nila. Marami silang mga crisis at home in China, including yung real estate sector, banking sector. There are a lot of problems that they're frothing now, no? Nakikita natin over the surface na ngayon na lumalabas. So, hindi in the best shape ngayon ng China, no? So that's why picking a fight with US at this point in time, I'm not sure that was the smartest move. And you know what? We learned Xi Jinping is not Putin. That Xi Jinping is far more calibrated and calculating and smart than some other people out there who will just invade other smaller countries thinking they can have a cakewalk, not knowing they're going to get bogged down and beaten back big time and lose up to 5,000 armored vehicles and tanks so far based on open source intelligence pa lang to, no? So sabi ko, Xi Jinping will express his discontent with inter alia, ramping up military deployments across the Taiwan Strait, conducting massive war games in the area, and potentially, katulad ng ginawa ng China noong 1995-1996, magpadala ng missiles close to the Taiwanese shores. Now, we have new reports on China's responses. So itong kaibigan natin si Taylor Fravel from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, isa yan sa mga tao na I always follow, a good friend of ours. So meron siyang mga pinost dito. So this, guys, is the picture of where the missile test or live fire tests or war games will be conducted by China. So this is 1995, 1996. This is 2022 after the Nancy Binay visit. So you can see there's some similarity in how China responds. Maybe some areas even closer. So again, this is where the exercises, live fires, and missile tests were being done back in 1995, 1996. The last time there was a major crisis in the Taiwan Strait. And then ito yung announcements. Let's see if China will do it. But ito yung mga announced areas where China could be conducting some provocative moves, no? Including deployment of fighter jets, live fire tests, missile tests, among others. But clearly, as you can see, Taiwan itself is not going to be targeted because once they do that, ano na yan? Damay-damay na yan. Gera na yan. Mukhang hindi rin nangyari yung mga reports or chismis na dadaan dito sa Clark. Mukhang dumiretso na siya. Pababa dito sa other side ng Philippines, Philippine Sea, and papunta yung Benham Bryce area, tapos pumunta siya, akyat siya, pumunta siya sa Taiwan. So yun, very, very interesting, guys. Very, very interesting. So as I said, I'm not saying that there will not be any responses by China. I said there'll be a response. But it's going to be more like tantrum kind of response rather than a full-force military response or interception of Nancy Pelosi, right? So this is another announcement by the People's Liberation Army Eastern Theater Command, which covers Taiwan. So ito po yung announcement nila. So yung mga magaling mag-Chinese, yung marunong mag-Chinese, basahin nyo na, alam niya yan. So ang sinasabi na to is, it will conduct joint air and sea exercises north, southwest, and southeast of Taiwan, and quote-unquote, ordinary firepower test launches east of Taiwan, right? So ito po yung announcement ng PLA Eastern Command. Ito yung military ng China, People's Liberation Army. So that roughly translate to ito. So ito yung, ito. Ito yung mga areas that where China could be conducting live fire tests, ordinary live fire tests, and missile tests. And then I'm suspecting China will deploy more and more mga fighter jets sa area na yan in the coming days or so to to complicate the factor. And then the other thing is Kunmen, yung meron isla maliit ng Taiwan dito, malapit sa mainland. Tingnan natin ang mangyari. So guys, this is Taiwan, and these are areas where China is expected to conduct some military maneuvers, exercises, and some other forms of retaliatory measures. Now, nakita din natin na ang China po ay nag-impose ng sanctions on some of the exports, fruit exports ng Taiwan. And then, interestingly guys, kahapon, nalaman natin, actually kagabi, no? Nalaman natin, hindi Nancy Binay, Nancy Pelosi. Ayan tayo. Na Nancy Binay tuloy tayo. Sa ano natin, naging Nancy Binay. Kakasabi ko, hindi to Nancy Binay, Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi na lang. Ayan tayo. Nasira yung momentum. Balikan natin ha. Yung visit ni Nancy Pelosi. Ayan tayo. Nancy Pelosi, ito po ha. So dahil sa visit niya, magkakaroon ng retaliatory measures, but not targeting Taiwan itself, but waters surrounding Taiwan, no? Nancy Pelosi. Uy, talagang mga alaskador tayo tuloy. It beat us back. So ito yung base dito sa statement sa PLA, People's Liberation Army, Eastern Command. Ayan. Hindi, sa kakaasar ko lang na hindi Nancy Binay. Parang ano to Tito Boy Soto. Naalala niyan? Tito Boy Tito Boy Soto. Ayan. Uy, makinig kayo! Pasaway talaga kayo. Makinig kayo. Classroom, ha? Talagang napapadala kayo sa alaskador. Ano natin, Nancy Binay. Be nice. Okay, be nice. Ayan, balikan natin. Nasira yung momentum ko Ang ganda ng paso ko. May military analysis pa This is what happened in 1995, 1996. These are areas of provocative military action by China. This is what's gonna happen in the coming days and weeks after the visit of biglang kaysa Nancy Pelosi sabi, Nancy Binay, ayan. Wala na. Finish na. Uwi na tayo. Tapos na. Uwi na tayo. Awanan. Agawit tayo. Kayo talaga, mga laskador talaga kayo. Tuloy, ang ganda ng momentum ko ang ganda ng explanation. So ito after visit ni Nancy Pelosi, hindi Nancy Binay. Ito yung Taiwan. Ito Taiwan So none of those areas will be affected. This is mainland China. Kinmen, and then these are areas where exercises will happen, which is quite similar to what happened in 1995, 1996. Wala pa si Nancy Binay noon sa eksena, okay? Si Nancy Pelosi nandun sa eksena noon. Alright? Ayan tayo Kakamaritas natin, guys. Kakamaritas. In fairness, nakikinig kayo Yung may konting Nancy Binay kaysa kay Pelosi, ang dami nag-react. Uy! Nahuli, nakikinig yung classroom. Talagang mga walang iya. So, yung mga nagsasabi na ito si Nancy Pelosi, hindi si Nancy Binay. Ayan tayo. Nagpapakyut lang, yan, ride lang yan sa sa mga drama. Well, let me dish you out some facts. Ito po si Nancy Pelosi. This is 30 years ago, guys.
We've been told for 2 days now that there's freedom of speech in China. The lawmakers unfurled a small hand-painted memorial banner. It is a memory which still burns bright, and it is a cause which will never die. As they laid 3 white flowers at the foot of the monument to martyrs, Beijing.
Yeah, so you can see almost 30 years ago, si Nancy Pelosi, hindi si Nancy Binay, hindi ko alam ginagawa ni Nancy Binay noon, but 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago, pumunta siya sa China, sa Tiananmen area pa, kung saan alam niyo na, yung massacre na nangyari against the democratic activists ng mga estudyante, to honor the courage and sacrifice of the students, workers, and ordinary citizens who stood for the dignity and human rights that all people deserve. To this day, we remain committed to sharing their story with the world. So ito yung pinost ni Nancy Pelosi. Hindi ko pa fina-follow si Nancy Binay sa So she has been very much steeped in China affairs since she has been so long in Congress and US politics, no? But Itong issue ng China, and of course, Taiwan is a fully democratic country, a very advanced democracy. I would say Taiwan's democracy is way more mature than American democracy or many Western democracy, UK democracy, etc. So dito guys, nakikita niya talaga na matagal na na-involve ito si Nancy Pelosi dito sa affairs that have to do something with China, with democratic will of the people in different parts of the world. Now, of course, Nancy Pelosi also made a big statement nung pagdating niya in Taiwan, making it clear that what she was doing was not just some publicity stunt, but what she was doing was actually standing for something bigger, right? Guys, diba na-explain ko sa'yo, the last time that a US House Speaker, no? Speaker of the US House of Representatives went to Taiwan was 1997. This is Newt Gingrich time. This is Bill Clinton time. This is 1 year after Bill Clinton had to deploy 2 aircraft carriers to show support to Taiwan. So he went there to show support. Sabi ko, this time naman, mayroon tayong situation sa Ukraine, which has made many people feel a little bit anxious about potentially the same thing happening in Asia between China and Taiwan. We have seen more and more harassment of the Taiwanese airspace by Chinese fighter jets. We have seen China being increasingly anxious and accusing Taiwan of having more separatist or pro-independence leaning in terms of its national politics. So lahat na yan, guys. So in that context, Nancy Pelosi, she said, our delegation's visit to Taiwan honors America's unwavering commitment to supporting Taiwan's vibrant democracy. Our discussions with Taiwan leadership reaffirm our support for our partner and promote our shared interest, including advancing a free and open Indo-Pacific. No? America's solidarity with the 23 million people of Taiwan is more important today than ever as the world faces a choice between autocracy and democracy. Our visit is one of several congressional delegations to Taiwan, and it in no way contradicts long-standing U.S. policy guided by the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979, U.S.-China Joint Communique, and the 6 assurances. She's referring to the agreements that were signed between the Nixon and Carter administration on one hand and their Chinese counterparts throughout the 1970s. So this is Mao Zedong and Zhou Enlai, and then going into Deng Xiaoping era. No? So remember, I discussed the Taiwan Relations Act. The United States continues to oppose unilateral efforts to change the status quo. So meron siyang full statements na pinost dun sa congressional delegation visit niya to Taiwan, dun sa website niya, sa US Speaker of the House, speaker.gov, and also dito sa kanyang Twitter. Now, Nancy Pelosi also penned an op-ed, so she has also an opinion article, na columnista din siya, whereby she explains in detail the context, the motivations, and the implications of, or what are the hope implications of her visit to Taiwan. So ito po yung ito yung opinion ed niya na published by Washington Post, and as you may know, Washington Post is one of the 2 major newspapers dyan sa Amerika. So ito, some 43 years ago, the United States Congress overwhelmingly passed and President Jimmy Carter signed into law. Remember yun ang dinidiscuss natin, yung Taiwan Relations Act, Carter administration, One China policy. The Taiwan Relations Act, one of the most important pillars of U.S. foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific. The Taiwan Relations Act sets out America's commitment to a democratic Taiwan, providing the framework for an economic and diplomatic relationship that would quickly flourish into a key partnership. It fostered a deep friendship rooted in shared interests and values, self-determination and self-government, democracy, freedom, human dignity, and human rights. And it made a solemn vow by the United States to support the defense of Taiwan. So here medyo pinupush talaga ni Nancy Pelosi, okay? Nancy Pelosi, okay? Mga Nancy Binay dyan. Okay, to consider any effort to determine the future of Taiwan by other than peaceful means a threat to the peace and security of the Western Pacific and of grave concern to the United States. So the language that you can see, guys, here is a little bit vague. Hindi siya katulad ng Mutual Defense Treaty sa pagitan ng Pilipinas and US, yung Mutual Defense Treaty natin. And definitely is not also katulad ng Japanese and American version of Mutual Defense Treaty. Alright? Kasi doon, klarong-klaro, kung sinugod yung territories ng Japan, damay-damay na yan. Papasok ng Amerika at suportahan blah, blah, blah. Suportahan niya ang Japan laban sa China if ever magkaroon ng giyera, including over areas claimed by Japan like Senkaku, Diaoyu, right? Now, in the same vein, but not as clear, but nonetheless clear enough, if you look at the Philippine-U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty, not the text per se, but the clarifications that came later on, especially under Pompeo and Blinken, the U.S. will come to the Philippines' rescue if Philippines troops, aircrafts, vessels come under attack in the Pacific and in the South China Sea. Then ma-activate na yung Mutual Defense Treaty. Then that will be seen as an act of aggression also against America, and accordingly, America has to respond. Now, may nakalagay dun sa ating version na according to constitutional processes, that means dapat dadaan din yan sa Kongreso. But the U.S. Congress is bipartisan against China, and the U.S. Congress is even more aggressive on supporting the Philippines and U.S. allies in the region. So alam ko may mga pro-China boys dyan na they're trying to use certain words there to say, hindi reliable ang America, etc. But you don't know what you're talking about, because if you have any idea about politics in Washington, D.C., you will know that generally it's the presidents who are more cautious, and it's the Congress actually which is more aggressive right now when it comes to China. And case in point, Nancy Pelosi, not Nancy Binay, Nancy Pelosi, right? Nancy Pelosi, she is the head of the U.S. Congress right now, right? And look at how aggressive they are in supporting Taiwan. And they'll be as aggressive in supporting any major ally or partner in the region. And come to think of it, Taiwan is not even a treaty ally. Taiwan is not even considered as a full sovereign nation. And to say that the Philippines, wala tayong maasahan sa America at all, what on earth are you talking about here? Because the anti-China sentiment is so strong in the United States, in Washington, D.C. It's so bipartisan that the United States will stay strong on the side of the Philippines in an event of conflict. But that's not the point there. The point is to deter conflict. So when you show resolve, you deter conflict. As the Roman saying goes, diba, yung old Roman saying, you know, to prevent war, I mean, essentially, to ensure peace, you have to prepare for war. Right? Kasi kung hindi ka prepared for war, kung timid ka, kung tatay style na wala tayong mga gawa, kung tatay style na let's just be meek and humble, by the way, that's direct quotation, right? Then you're inviting bullying. Because if the bullies sense, you know, they sense that you're weak, kung may scent of timidity in the air, they will take advantage of that. And you've offered them an inch, right? So that you avoid conflict, they will ask for a mile, right? So this is what you learn from geopolitics. You have to show resolve to avoid conflict. When you show weakness, you invite conflict, right? So perhaps one reason that a lot of smaller countries got invaded is because they look weak. But if they look strong, they would not have been invaded. I mean, let me look at the most extreme case. I think if Ukraine were not as corrupt and institutionally weak and oligarchically compromised as it has been over the past 3 decades until Zelensky came in to kind of clean up the system, I don't think Russia would have dared to attack them. But because Ukraine has been so much undermined by oligarchic politics and corruption and all, it looked weak in the view of Russia, and Russia invaded, except not knowing that slowly Ukraine was building up its capability, and that Zelensky is not just any president, and Zelensky stood up to to Russia, and he has inflicted massive damages on the Russian invading forces. No, so if you are weak, you will make the bullies think you are invadable, you are pushover, and that will actually encourage them to do more aggressive actions against you. Pero kung malakas ka, kahit maliit ka, they will think twice before invading you. Look at Finland. Once they beat the heck out of the Soviet forces during the Stalin invasion, the Russians didn't mess with them, right? Look at Switzerland, very small, right? Smack at the heart of Europe. They could have been conquered by multiple sides, but they stood their ground. Now, so I can go on and on. Some are mountainous countries, some are flat countries. It doesn't matter. The fact, some are island nations like Taiwan. Kaya nga sabi ko, guys, ang mahalaga dyan is yung tinatawag natin na porcupine strategy. If you look at Taiwan, right? Not only is it not weak, not only is it's not weak, oy, RAD Pulse, obviously troll ka, umalis ka dito. Okay? O gusto man tatay style na wala tayong mga gawa ganun. By the way, that was direct quotation. Yung sinabi na wala tayong mga gawa. O di dun ka. Dun ka sa mga katulad mong ano. Ayoko na magsalita. Magpakabay tayo guys. Kasi today is very special day guys. Ito yung launching ng Made in Chismis. One of the best movies in recent history dito sa Pilipinas. I'm very sure Oscars level to. So, sobrang Oscars levels na intimidate ako. Alright? So, let's be nice, let's be kind, let's be supportive dito sa art natin dito sa Pilipinas. Alright. So, going back again here, ha? Going back again here. Let me explain, guys. Let me explain. Alright? You see, the US is becoming increasingly anti-China. And that means even the non-treaty allies like Taiwan can increasingly rely on America for support because US wants to make sure that China will not become Russia. I mean, will not become what Russia is in eastern Ukraine. China should not become that in this part of the world, right? And the US credibility is on the line. Kung mahinang US, kung pabayaan niya yung mga allies niya dito, the other allies will also fold over, right? Or they'll shift defect. So there's a lot at stake for the US here. It's not only about the Philippines or Taiwan. It's about the US network of alliances. Yung tinatawag na hub and spokes. So US is the hub and then spokes, yung mga allies. Once the hub is a little bit fragile, the whole structure can come down. Do you get what I'm saying here? Okay, now going back to Taiwan, hindi rin pichugin ng Taiwan. Yung babae nilang presidente 10 times mas matapang dun sa mga ibang pamacho-macho na tatay style. Alright? Yung Taiwan na yan, no, pagdating sa kanilang military capabilities, they're one of the most powerful in Asia, if not in the world. Alright? Hindi ito made in chismis. Totoo ito, guys. Tignan nyo yung capacity capabilities ng Taiwan. They build their own fighter jets, for heaven's sake, right? They have one of the most advanced armaments. They're very hardworking people. They're a semiconductor superpower in the world. The TSMC, yung Taiwanese semiconductor producer, is the biggest in the world, and its revenues are several times bigger than version niya in Samsung of Korea, right? And Taiwan has become even more important in recent years because of the centrality of computer chips and semiconductors to the global supply chains. All right? So hindi pichugin ng Taiwan, palaban sila. They will be harassed, there will be attacks, there'll be all sorts of different tantrums thrown there, but the Taiwanese people are ready for this, and they are really very much appreciating it. It's majority of them, not all, of course. There'll always be nega, but majority of them are actually very happy and supportive of, you know, growing open diplomatic relations with America, short of course, declaring independence, because that would invite conflict. Now, ang sabi ko nga dyan, naintindihan ko rin si President Xi Jinping. He doesn't want to look weak, right? He has promised to make China great again. And term niya is great rejuvenation in the Chinese civilization and people. He is a nationalist. He loves this country. We may have disagreements, but President Xi Jinping clearly loves this country. He's a patriot, and he wants to make China a superpower. So he'll have to do something. But he's not Putin, right? He's calibrating his responses here because he doesn't want to endanger the Chinese economic welfare and long-term development, right? So these are the things that we have to also look at and really appreciate as far as we're talking about the Taiwan situation. As I said also, damay-damay yan kung magkakaroon ng gulo dyan kasi katabi lang natin ng Taiwan, kasi US treaty ally tayo, yung ating mga bases are open to US and other like-minded countries like Australia and Japan in an event of conflict. Meron na tayong mga legal agreements dyan. Meron na tayong mga institutional enmeshment dyan. Meron na tayong interoperability, military interoperability with yung mga allies na yan. So, and China will likely treat us as a potential enemy if ever war happens there, no matter what our presidents want to say, no matter what Tatay Digong wanted to say, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't work that way. So, yun. So, those are the factors that we have to keep in mind. Now, we'll have more updates on this. I want to see anong mangyari sa end of her trip. What is she gonna look at? What will be the major agreements, etc.? What else the U.S. will do? Will there be more high-level visits to Taiwan by U.S. officials? But so far, nakita natin. Pelosi showed resolve. They didn't do anything about it. They couldn't do anything about it, right? You show timidity, they'll take advantage of that. That's why mahalaga na matapang ka. And it's interesting, it's women, strong women leaders, who are giving us a lesson about strength and against timidity. So medyo yung mga ibang macho-macho tatay style, maybe they can learn a thing or two there. Alright? So please, please lang, this is not a question of war and peace per se. It's a question of what kind of peace we want to have. Do we want to have a peace based on submission and humiliation and acquiescence and subservience? Or do we want a peace based on dignity and strength and even the grudging respect of other bullies and bigger powers? It's the kind of peace that we want. No one wants war, but it's the kind of peace that we want. That is the question that we have to ask ourselves as Filipinos, right? And it's the grit, the determination, and the patriotism of the Taiwanese people which has put them in this place whereby the U.S. is willing to risk confrontation with China to show support to the Taiwanese democracy and the Taiwanese people. And for that, kudos to them. And for that, we have to be inspired by them. All right? Thank you very much, guys. Ayan na, medyo not political speech. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And, okay. Maaga tayo today, Eto na, as you can guess, guys, papunta na tayo dyan sa Made in Chismis. Alright? I-cover natin yung opening night. Sa meron atang update si Mark Gamboa sa akin na. Oy! Nanood na yung iba ng Made in Chismis. Ayan. Ano daw kayo, Made in Chismis? Kamusta na daw? Pupunta na tayo sa cinema. Mamaya, punta ako. Dadrop pa ako. Tignan ko yung mga tao. Ayan tayo. Ayan tayo, guys. Ayan na naman tayo. Magta-thank you tayo dyan. Kay Norman Bravo. Joining us. Tata Berol. Hindi tatay. Alive Alex. Okay, good to know. Vilma Alberto. Glenn Jopio, thank you very much for joining us, for your support. Mabel De Los Santos, Cyril Aguila, kamusta naman dyan? Justin Manuel, Annabel Penetrante, thank you kay Vilma Alberto for your support, kay Elizabeth Palaco for your support, kay Cyril Aguila, yon. Paper Dragon, hindi Paper Tiger, sabi nung isa ni Mer Cross. Ayan, nice looking daw, sabi ni Zella Bello. Sino nice looking? Sino? Ayan na naman tayo. Magang-maga, medyo may energy ng konti. Ayan, si Leza FD, salamat for support. Papunta din pa siya dito, Prof. Hindi. Malaysia, Singapore, and then Japan, Korea, via Taiwan. Ang pupunta dito, guys, is US Secretary of State Blinken, Anthony Blinken, later this week, August 6, no? So, don't worry, may high-level US official na pupunta dito. In some ways, he's even more important than Nancy Pelosi. Ayan na, Nancy Binay. Nahuli ko kayo, nakikinig kayo. Sir, Nancy Binay, sir! Hindi naman, sir. Ganun, ayan. Uy, love ko yan si Nancy Binay ngayon, Dahil si Nancy Binay, ang ganda ng mga, niya, mga recyclable, may mga environmental consciousness yung mga office design niya. Ayan. Buti pa yung babae, may, alam nyo na, cojones. I-Espanyol ko na lang yan. Ayan. Annabelle, hindi ako nagsabi yan. Si Titon Ogrimina nagsabi. Baka mamaya makancel tayo dyan. I like your shirt. You look handsome for today. Bakit today lang po? Salamat kay Ritze. Wassalamualaikum. Thank you for joining us from Saudi Arabia. Thank you, John. Kay Annabelle Gamoras. Ayan daw. Sana paalis na. Sana to watch ka-tips. O yan. Good luck. Enjoy. Parang musical siya, di ba? May mga nag-react, sabi nila, parang medyo weird na musical kasi napaka-seryoso yung bagay. Di sana prose na lang kaysa melodic music. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a singer, so bias ko against also musical and all kasi hindi ako nakaka-relate. Pag medyo may sayaw, nakaka-relate ako yung mga ganon. Ayun, mga bills lang. Pero yung mga musical hindi. But let's see. Let's see which one appeals. So some friends are messaging me now and saying, yung Made in Chismis daw, in fairness daw, medyo enjoyable. Parang gusto kong sabihin, good for you na nag-enjoy ka ng Made in Chismis. Alright. Salamat dyan kay Leo Domancio. Grazie, bello. Joining us from Milano. I just got to know, Ermagianildo Zenia. Yung brand na yan. I learned how to pronounce it. Zenia. Ermagianildo Zenia. Ganon dapat yan. Ermagianildo Zenia. Okay, hindi siya Zegna. It's a Zenya. Ano naman, Zenildo? Ayan na naman tayo eh. Ayan na naman tayo eh. Okay. Salamat kay Ma'am Jocelyn. Yun, no? Talagang watching from Pearl Farm, Samala Island. Wow, enjoy naman dyan, ma'am. Keep safe and strong and healthy para fresh kayo like Tsai Ing-wen and Nancy Pelosi and Nancy Binay. Yeah, in fairness, si Nancy Binay too. Santos Ilren, thank you for your support. Hello kay Rovelyn Catalogo. Hello din kay Evelyn Lalio. Yan si Lily Chanko. Gandang fresh ni Fenk. Fenk talaga eh. Hindi to Fenk. Salmon yan, salmon. Ayan tayo. Ayan na, wala ng World War 3. Nagkaroon ng Chismis 3. World Chismis. World War Chismisan. Okay. Salamat dyan kay Ma'am Fanny San Miguel. Isa sa mga best supporters natin yan. Si Esme Apel. Naomi Tablare. Mga ka-QC. Flex naman dyan. Mga flex dyan. Ayan, nakita yung triceps. Yan ah! Yan ah! Ayan, yun. Nagda-drive ng kotse. Tapos talagang sinistretch niya. Tapos tawag siya, Miss! Tapos kasi Miss, tignan niyo yung ano niyo, baka nahulog po yung ano niyo, purse. Ayan, yung mga dumb moves na gano'n. Ayan tayo. Eh, Miss, may traffic dito sa site. Tapos gigilid niyang gano'n para lalabas yung triceps niya. Ayan naman tayo dyan. Kay Joyu Dongines, ni Hao Ma, thank you for joining us from Taipei, one of my favorite cities. Alam niyo naman, nagstay tayo dyan in 2019 for visiting scholar position. Love that place. Hopefully can catch up with you guys and visit there soon. Ayan. Mga made in chismis. Excited na ba kayo dyan? Super early daw, sabi ni Mitch. Yan. Super early daw. Made in chismosa. Grabe naman kayo. Yan. Nag-show ng force ng US din. Kung palakihan tayo ng bagong sabi niya. Gumana ng US eh. Ayan tuloy. Wala na. Talagang pag maaga ganyan tayo, no? Medyo ADHD. Okay. Baka si Tom Cruise daw yung pilot ng Air Force Jet. Ayan tayo. Talagang mga Pinoy, no? Kung ano-ano na lang natin naisip. Kasi may Taiwan flag, di ba? Yung yung jacket ni Tom Cruise, di ba? May Taiwan, Japan. Ayan. Baka nga ng Top Gun siya. Ayan. Top Gun, Nancy Binay. Pelosi. And tayo, thank you kay Michael Uy, yan, supportive kay Margaret Rodriguez, Rose, yan, 3-in-1 for Zaddy, yan. Nakaka-3-in-1 ako ngayon. Ayan, morning daw kay Chenny Chen. Thank you very much for joining us. Ayan tayo, yung mga supporters natin, na-confused na si Prof. Saan? Sa Nancy Binay. Hindi, nangasal lang nag-alas ka doon tayo tuloy. You beat yourself. Then, Nancy Pelosi talaga. Makinig kasi kayo. Ang tawag dyan, Freudian, hindi Freudian sleep yan eh. Tawag dyan, chismis sleep. Ha! Ayan tayo eh. Uy! Ready na kayo to watch Made in Chismis. Excited na kayo. Yung mga stars na ibibigay niyo sa akin, yan ang gagamitin ko para manood ng... Ayoko na magsalita. Okay. Glenn Sembrano, thank you very much for your support. Hello to our friend Yoj Mafa joining us from Pangasinan. Naalala ko tuloy ang Kalabaw. Ano sabi ni sino ang Kalabaw? Ayan tayo. At least you know we're listening, sabi ni Rowena Garcia. Oo naman. Pero nasira yung momentum ko. Ang ganda ng explanation ko. Ito yung areas of military maneuvers. Ang ganda ng usapan. Biglang, Sir, it's Nancy Pelosi, not Nancy Binay. Ayan, tuloy. Sira yung briefing. Wala na, tawanan lahat. Wala na, finish na. Agawit na yun. Finish na. Joy Galvez Vicente, hello po. Kay Beth Fiala. Ayan, dami present. Uy, maga-maga, maraming kaninang tune in. Watching from London. Uy, Remedios Valdoria. Nag-Wembley Stadium ba kayo? Nanalo ng Euro Championship ang women's football ng England. Gaya sa Philippines. Ayan. Titon Ogriminia. Thank you very much for your support. Watching from ON. What does it stand for po? Oregon ba yan? Saan ba yan? Thank you kay good afternoon kay Judith Thomas. Ayan, late pero nakahabol. Salamat kay Katrina Paladin Frias. Kay Eden Olonan. Yan, mga supporters natin. Praying for peace daw, sabi ni May. Maring. Yep. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Ito na naman tayo. Mag-alas-gadol naman ako. Quad and AUKUS. Yung AUKUS na yung relevant yan if karoon ng conflict sa Taiwan. Kasi meron ng damay-damay na yan ng Britain at saka Australia din eh. Ayan, si R.A.D. Pulse Epals. Epals move. Epals move. Epals move. Huwag ka dito. Okay? Kung gusto mo ng tapos na yung term na, ayaw ko na magsalita. Ano yung pa natin, pasikatin pa. Made in Chismis. Salamat kay Riz Annie. Afternoon din po sa'yo. Grabe naman yung mga ibang nyo dun sa Made in Chismis. Ayoko nang basahin. Ay nako, magagalit naman yung man-child sa akin. Seth Van Eisen, thank you very much for your support. Ayan. Hello po kay Edgardo Quintos from Turin. Ayan, nag-reply ako doon yung mga na made in Chismis at saka Katipunan Club. Yan. Kamusta naman kay John? TSMC, yun ang pinunta ni Pelosi sa Taiwan. Yan, talaga kasi napakamahalaga yung TSMC, di ba? Pinakita ko sa inyo doon sa ang laki ng contribution ng TSMC. TSMC lang parang nakalahati na yan ng buong mga semiconductor chips eh. Oo. Quen, joining us from Dubai. Wassalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for supporting us. Really appreciate. Thank you kay Mitch Tengcho. Ayan, commitment to public education. Consistent. Ayan, ADHD na consistent na walang tulugan. I'm always waiting for your meta. Ayan, habang di pa tayo nag-asawa and all, mag-meta-meta tayo. Mamaya, may magtawa, yung diapers ng bata. Ganyan. Wala na. Wala na time Toto Jans, thank you very much for your support. Oops! Ano nangyari? Nakita niyo tuloy yung gulo ko. Oh my God. Nakita niyo yung gulo ko sa table ko dyan. Ay, yan talaga. Buti not worst ang nakita niyo. Mali yung na-press ko. Oh my goodness. Ayan na. Shoutout naman dyan kay Dennis Aquino. Ayan tayo. Thank you kay Natasha Tamin. Thank you kay Gina Espinelli. Nakita na dami kong books and all. Ang gulo, di ba? Talagang studio style. Huwag niyang chismisin masyado. Roy Vargas, thank you very much for your support. Appreciate much daw, sabi ni Marma. Thank you also kay Tara ng Sawai for support and stars. Thank you kay Yoj Zen. Hello naman kay Carla Escobar. Kaya naman ng musical para sa serious topic. Parang less... Yeah, I thought about Les Miserables, but guys, remember, Les Miserables is based on fiction by Victor Hugo, right? This is reality we're talking about, okay? This is really dictatorship reality and all. So I don't know, Les Miserables was more about, I don't know, post-French Revolution ba yun or pre-French Revolution? Parang injustice. But this, guys, is something different. This is about dictatorship and human rights violation. It's way more than what Les Miserables was trying to discuss. But I don't know. Who am I, right? To say something on artistic aspects of this. But as long as it helps people, right? Alan Samonte, thank you for educating us. Of course, my pleasure. I appreciate it. Yan, joining us from Rosario, Pasig. Si Mike Rojas na number 1 in terms of comments. Hindi ko alam yung stars, pero ito na naman tayo. Maribel Pacorib, nagparinig na naman tong Ilocano na to. Definitely will watch Katips. Good afternoon. Watching from Tanawan City, Batangas. Thank you very much po for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you kay Let Culette. Thanks po. God bless to you too. Thank you very much. Ayan, I have to go na 2 p.m. na pala. Alright, I'm sure manonood na kayo. May gagawin na ako. Babalik na lang sa trabaho. Papagalitan kayo ng bossing nyo. Thank you rin kay Toto Jans for your support. Very, very much appreciated. Ayan, ang dami palang mga kuda dito sa baba. Chi Escot, thank you very much. Tagumpay Daan, Maria Teresa Cristobal. Actually guys, thank you kay Maria joining us from Japan. Okay, guys, I'm thinking, kuha ko ng SIM card. Kung may budget tayo. Tapos tawag na lang kayo sa akin. Siyempre, hindi ko masagot lahat. Or mag-send kayo ng voicemail. I-play natin ang voicemail nyo kung may mga tanong kayo. Medyo parang radyo tayo. Yung parang Tulfo style. Tatawag kayo, magreklamo kayo. Sir, itong natin, ganito, ganyan. Ganito na lang tayo para mas interactive. Nag-iisip din ako ng ways na. Pwede kayo tumawag sa akin, live natin, pakinggan, tapos respond tayo. Okay? Okay. Tingnan natin kung mag-work yung logistics niyan. Ha? Maghanap pa ako ng SIM card. Maghanap pa ako ng load. Panglagay ng load sa SIM card. Kailangan ko maglagay ng load. Kaya na naman tayo. Ayan tayo. Nagpaparinig na. Ryan Seldobakil. Kailangan ng bayaran yung SIM card na kailangan ng bayaran, lagay ng load, na kailangan ilagay ng phone, na kailangan mo rin bilhin. Yan, ayan na. Nagparinig na si Zaddy. Talagang mga... I hope my Ilocano people are proud of me after everything. Alright! Ayoko na. Sabi na naman nanay natin, anak, ano na naman ginagawa mo? Pinalaki kita na may dignidad. Ngayon, pati SIM card. Pati yung load ng SIM card. Anak, hingin mo ng stars yan. Huwag naman ganyan. Alright. Salamat. Thank you kay Natalia Costa from joining us. Shoutout naman dyan kay Josh Saldivar. Salamat kay Annabelle Penetrante again. Ayan, parinig na. Damay-damay na to, damay-damay. Ayan na si Ma'am Milagros, talaga Milagros, no? Christina, nagbigay ng pang SIM card with load natin. Alright, next time na yung Xiaomi ko, Xiaomi. Mother Republic Alaskador. Ayan. Nay, be proud of me naman, ma. Hindi ko nga mabigay yung landline ko, Mitch, kasi kung binigay ko yung landline ko, wala na. Hindi na ako makatulog. 24 hours magtatroll sa akin ng tao. Hindi nga pwede. Kaya nga, I cannot even give my number. Kasi the moment I give that, patay tayo dyan. Baka mahack pa tayo. So, I have to buy a separate SIM card. So, pupunta ako sa shop. Manong, makanong SIM card? 200 pesos. Okay. Manong, kailangan ko ng load. Makanong load? Okay, 500 pesos. Manong, kailangan ko ng cellphone para lagay yung SIM card na may loob na load dun sa, makano yun? Yan. Kasi, kaya guys, kaya be proud. Ayan na yung mga nagbibigay ng star. Thank you, ha. Talaga nagparinig, ayan. Talaga si Ma'am Jocelyn, mabait talaga yan. Si Vilma Alberto. Basta guys, na-gets nyo yung nangyari. Naisip ko lang isang gabi, bakit ganun na lang kaya? O, wag na kayo sabay-sabay tumawag, ha. Tawag, oy, mamaya ka na tumawag, ha. Okay, kasagutin ko muna. Sige, bili pa tayo ng Xiaomi para ma-shoutout ko kayo. Shoutout dyan sa mga ka-Xiaomi. Oo, mahirap na. Okay, naan na tayong Green Hills mamaya. Tignan natin kung may magandang cellphone at SIM card. Diba? Kailangan yan, guys. Bili tayo ng prepaid, tapos, diba? Ang ganda yan. Tapos tawag kayo live. Sir! Kamusta na, sir? Okay naman po. Tini na oras. Tapos ang daming kwento, ang daming kuda. Sir, ganito kasi sa amin, sir. Alam mo, si ganun yung kapitbahay namin, sir. Ang daming chismis, daming marites. Okay, sir, ano question nyo ulit, sir? Hindi pa sir, yung kapitbahay namin, ganun. Sir, may tanong ba kayo? Wala po. Okay, salamat. Ayan. Huwag tayo ganun, guys, ha. You have 25 seconds to say you're otherwise blocked na kayo, okay? Dapat may rules tayo, eh. Mamaya, daming marites, tumawag 15 minutes. Kwento ng buhay niya, kwento ng jowa niya, lahat ng Alaska niya doon sa kapitbahay niya. Huwag ganon, okay? Maubos yung load ko kung matagal kayo tumawag. Baka pati load ko mawala. Okay? Alright. Labas ko yung Xiaomi ko. Proud na proud. Diba yun yung mga 7 cameras. Tapos pag tingin mo, mukha ka ng 12-year-old. yung filter ng mga Chinese phones yung klase. Yung iPhone, lalo kang tumatanda. Pag nagpicture ka ng iPhone, wala naman ako wrinkles. Sabi ka, ang dami wrinkles. Pumuti pa yung buhok mo. Ayan, okay, ito na yung iPhone. Tapos, lagay ka ng Samsung. Woy, pwede. BTS. Paglagay mo ng Xiaomi, sino yun? Parang PDF file. Lang, sino yun? Biglang 12-year-old na yung lalabas. Ayan tayo. Kaya gusto ko, Xiaomi. Xiaomi or Oppo. Alright? Sabi ni Lerman, tigas naman daw yung pagka-Ilocano mo. Abay! At ang problema, hindi lang matigas yung Ilocano natin. Makapal din ang mukha natin. Okay. Alright. So, yon. Yeah, I was just thinking, guys, we can mix it up, diba? We can mix it up. Ayan, meron ng recommendation si Michael Uy. MI12's Ultra. Yun, no? Alam niya, pag tawag kong ganun, kausap mo 14-year-old. Sobrang filtered, pumayat yung mukha, puting-puti na, ganun. Ewan klase. Yung mga Chinese phone, di ba? Yung mga paglagay mga iPhone, wow! Tumanda ako dito. Ganun. Tapos, sorry talaga guys, may limitasyon ng siyensya. Hindi, may kaya ng Chinese phone yan. Wow! Gwapo bigla. Ayan tayo. Republic Alascador. Ayan. Sa Oppo daw, walang pores, sabi ni Mitch. Sa naman, sa Xiaomi, walang ayaw ka na magsalita. Sasabihin nyo na naman, anong tayo? Basta, ba yung Taiwanese brand? Di ba meron dati yung H ba yan? Yung Taiwanese brand din na phone na laki-laki, parang Sony. Taiwanese na lang tayo, baka mahak pa ako dyan sa na yan. Parang, ganun pala yung style ni tatay, di ba? Pag matagal na siya nagsasalita, nakakamot na siya. Makati pala, kung mataldal ka. Parang makati yung katawan mo. Di ba yung parang minsan nagpapa-interview si tatay, tapos yung tagal na interview, gumagana siya, nagkati-kati siya. Alam niya guys, alam mo, ayan, okay. Tama na yan. Wow, dami na. Nokia daw, walang camera. Ay, oo, wait lang, meron akong Nokia, wait lang. Saan na? Ito. Ito yung sa lola ko. Ayan, HTC, di ba? Ito po yung gagamitin ko. Ang problema ko dito, ang mga gumagamit na ito, medyo drug lord na yata, tsaka yung mga illegal na business. Alam mo yung ganun. Bigla nalawas dito. Sir, andyan na yung delivery natin. Oo, lagyan mo na dyan. Pag ganun yung phone, delikado yan. Kamot siya dito. Pinayaran mo yung customs na ano daw sabi ni SPO Ayan, di ba? Pag gano'n na phone, medyo medyo suspicious ako pag may dalang gano'n kasi hindi ito matrack. Pati yung Starlink ni Elon Musk, hindi yan matatrack, talagang non-traceable. Outside sa radar yan. Ayan. Sir, kalmado lang tayo. Kati-kati siya dito. Ganito kasi, yung natin, yung dalas from hindi yan pure, may diluted yun, ha? Yung diluted, bigay mo dun sa ha? Ganon. Yung mga medyo may illegal na gagawin. Ito yung phone. Non-traceable. Parang Saul Goodman. Yung binibenta niya mga So yan, baka yan ang gagamitin ko kung makulit kayo para hindi nyo matrace ang location ko. Okay? Ayan, kasi kung China Xiaomi phone, baka alam nila yung lifestyle ko. Okay. Alright. Ayan tayo. Load natin to. Pang formali daw to. Walang formali. Tapos yung kotse mo, Mercedes-Benz, no? Tapos naglabas niya. Ganun yung phone niya. Alam na yung trabaho. Ganda ng kotse, paglabas niya. E-Class. Tapos labas niya, guwaping, nakalakos, mga ganyan. Tapos hindi naman Green Hills. Paglabas ng phone, ganyan na agad. Alam na yung business. Kaya alam na natin yung trabaho nito. Alam mo na. Yung punta ka sa bar, sa French Riviera ka. Guwapo, pasok na. Ganun. Tapos what's your number? Guys, labas yung iPhone 14 niya. Kakabili lang niya sa Dubai, sa airport, papunta dyan sa Paris. Tapos ikaw, can you put your number here? Ayan! Ayan na! Can you please put your number here? Kukuha lang yan. Hindi ko alam yung lola ko, paano na nagagamit yan ang lit-lit ng itong niya. Ang hirap itas two hands mo lang gano'n, no? Ganun. Can you put your number here? Ganun. Ayan. Okay, nagamit ko na yung phone ng lola ko. Thanks pala dito, lola. Okay. Appreciate it. Okay. Ito talaga eh. Yung ganda ng usap-usap. Bigla siri. Alam mo yung sobrang old na Nokia? Siri. Ano yan? Siri, tas bigla, sorry meron akong business call. Formality times. Alam na this. Okay, meron na tayong naipon na stars pang bili ng second version nito. Baka may mas bagong version nito. Yan na lang natin gagamitin. Alright? So, tingnan ko may time ako. Baka punta na natin yung Made in Chismis or Les Miserables Philippine Edition. Tingnan natin lahat. Alright. Okay. Tama na yan. Trabaho na ako. See guys, thank you very much. Huwag niyo na akong bully na Nancy Pelosi, okay? Just to be clear, Nancy Pelosi. Alright? And next time guys, tawag kayo dito, alright? Kung may problema kayo, kung may mali tayo na Nancy Binay, ganun, itawag niyo na sa akin dito, okay? Alright. Thank you very much. God bless. And please, watch the movie or try to support movies and arts that actually expose historical truths and fight back against distortion, alright? That's the least we can do for our collective sanity and for honoring, the victims of the darkest years of our contemporary history, right? Okay, on that serious note, thank you very much and talk to you later depending on ang may mga developments or hasta mañana. Alright? God bless. Thank you very much.